Hello, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk podcast. I'm Priti, a mental health and wellness coach, and I'm so excited y'all are here. I've been reflecting a lot lately about how time shapes us, and I wanted to share something personal with you all. There's this feeling I think we all experience at some point, the longing for the person we once were, the version of ourselves before life threw its curveballs. And for years, I tried to go back. I kept reaching for who I used to be, but I realized something important. In this podcast, I want to talk about how growth, healing, and time don't always mean returning to the past. Sometimes they mean embracing who we're becoming. So, if you've ever felt like you lost yourself along the way, I hope this resonates with you. And let's dive in. There are moments when I catch myself reminiscing about who I used to be before life shaped me in ways I never expected. I remember the girl who'd laughed a little louder, who carried dreams unshaken by reality, who hadn't yet been touched by certain wounds. I think about her often, wondering if I can ever find my way back to her. But no matter how much I try, she feels just out of reach, like a fading echo of a song I once knew by heart. For years, I tried to retrace my steps, believing that if I just did things differently, revived old habits, revisited familiar places, reconnected with who I was, I could somehow restore that version of myself. But I've come to realize something. Time doesn't work that way. Growth doesn't work that way. The past isn't a place we can return to. It's a chapter we have read, a version of ourselves we have outgrown. Not because we wanted to, but because life demanded it. And maybe that's not something to mourn, but to understand. I am not who I was 10 years ago, and that's okay. The person I once was didn't have the wisdom I hold now. She didn't face the struggles I've overcome, hadn't learned the lessons that reshaped my soul. She was beautiful in her own way, just as I am now, different, yet still whole. So I no longer chase the past. Instead, I choose to honor it while embracing who I am becoming. Maybe the goal was never to go back, but to take the essence of who I was and let it evolve into something even more authentic. Looking back, I see that every experience, every loss, every heartbreak, every unexpected turn carved me into who I am today. At times, I resented the pain, wishing I could rewind and skip the hard parts. But now I see that those very moments shaped my strength, deepened my compassion, and guided me toward my purpose. There was a time when I felt disconnected from myself, as if the person in the mirror was a stranger. I missed the carefree version of me, the one who hadn't known certain grief, who hadn't carried certain scars. But instead of seeking my past self, I started nurturing the person I am today. I found new joys, new passions, and a new sense of self that feels even more real than before. And honestly, I am so grateful. I realized that healing wasn't about erasing the past, it was about learning to coexist with it. It was about acknowledging that parts of me had been lost, but in their place, something even more profound had been built. So here's a note to anyone who feels the same. If you have ever felt lost in time, longing for a version of yourself that no longer exists, know this. You are not lost. You are unfolding. You are shedding what no longer serves you, making room for something new. And that in itself is a beautiful transformation. Maybe we were never meant to stay the same. Maybe the real magic happens when we stop chasing who we were and start embracing who we are becoming. So here's to who we were, who we are, and who we are still becoming. We are not meant to be the same, we are meant to grow. And maybe, just maybe, the person we are becoming is exactly who we were meant to be all along. You are not lost, you are becoming. Thank you for listening.